A budget phone that can take pictures as sharp as this. I present you the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 Pro, the new 2019 budget king from Xiaomi. This could very well be the best budget phone of the year. It's time for me to share with you guys my 2 weeks review thoughts regarding this awesome $250 phone. Yes, it costs $250 in 2019. Considering what this phone is offering, I mean, it could easily be a $300 plus phone, but Xiaomi decided to shock us all with this amazing price point. Now let's start off with the design. At this budget price point, most companies go with a plastic or a glass-stick look, which doesn't look as premium as a proper glass phone. So Xiaomi, they actually went with a glass back, so you're getting Gorilla Glass 5 on both front and back of this phone. The color that I have is a gray silver kind of color. It looks really good. The curved sides on the back reflect light, and because of that, it also fits nicely in one hand. Towards the bottom, you get your beloved headphone jack. From the front, it's rocking a U-shaped notch, and right towards the middle, we have a quad camera setup. This is one of the first phones on the market to have the 64 megapixel sensor. If you guys remember, Samsung announced this sensor a couple of months ago, and now it's finally shipping on phones, and it was actually made in collaboration with Xiaomi. And I have to say, the results out of this camera is actually pretty good. For the price, it's too good. More on that later. There's a fingerprint scanner on the back as well, which is really joined with the camera, so it's possible to have fingerprints on the camera lens because the fingerprint scanner is just too close to that. But as far as the speed is concerned, it's really fast, like ridiculously fast. So moving over to the display, we have a full HD plus 6.5 inch LCD panel. This panel has a 500 nits of brightness. It's decently bright. It's comfortable to view outside. I've not had any problem as far as reading the text or looking at the screen in bright outdoor conditions. Obviously, I would have preferred the OLED technology over the IPS LCD, but considering the price it's coming at, it's really hard to complain. Overall, it's a very decent display, decent vibrant colors, the text looks sharp, and since it's a large display, it's gonna be a very good treat for the gamers. And speaking of gaming, let's talk about the performance. This one is rocking the MediaTek Helio G90T chipset. Benchmark wise, its performance is close to Snapdragon 845 from last year, and in terms of the real life usage, I've not seen any lag throughout the UI. It's been very stable on this Android 9.0 Pie software version. The surprising part about this chipset was in the gaming department. So the GPU of this phone is actually a Melee G76. If you recall, that's the same GPU that you see inside of Galaxy Note 10 Plus and the Mate 30 Pro and other flagship phones. So because of that, it's actually performing really good in the games that I've played, especially Call of Duty. It was running the game at 60 frames per second in the multiplayer mode, and I saw a decent 45 to 50 frames per second performance in the Battle Royale mode, which I did not expect at all. So thanks to the Melee G76 GPU, the gaming performance on this $250 phone is insane. It's coming with 6 gigs of RAM, which is plenty enough to handle multiple apps at the same time. Now, as far as the software is concerned, it's running Android 9.0 Pie based on Xiaomi's own MIUI, and I have to say, it's a pretty decent Android skin. We have all the features such as dark mode, the split screen multitasking. Some element of this UI looks like it's inspired from iOS, but if you have used a Xiaomi phone before, I think you're gonna love what Xiaomi is doing here. It's got a few pre-installed bloatware applications which you can uninstall later. Overall, it's a nice skin, but if you want a cleaner or a pure Android kind of experience, you should definitely use a launcher. Now let's discuss cameras. So we've got a main 64 megapixel lens with f1.9 aperture. Then there is a 8 megapixel ultra wide angle lens, a 2 megapixel dedicated macro camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. And on the front, it's rocking a 20 megapixel f2.0 selfie camera. Now I have to say, the images out of this phone at this price is amazing, too good. You can take a picture and zoom in as much as you want, and it's not gonna lose any detail. As long as you are using the 64 megapixel mode in good lighting condition, it's gonna provide some really detailed pictures. I took all these shots on Xiaomi phone, and I'm really impressed about the result. There is a dedicated macro lens as well, which allows you to get really close to your subject for photos like this. And for the portrait images, the depth sensor is doing a very decent job. You can adjust the portrait blur on the photo as you're taking it, which is pretty good. And similar to the iPhone, you also get a lot of studio effects as well. Now coming to the night mode performance, I was actually very impressed with the look of the images. Judging from all the results, I have to say the night mode does work really good. In low light situations, the images are nice and detailed. Again, I did not expect the camera to perform this good at this price range. Just to show you guys how good this camera is, I'm just putting this image side by side with the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which is the phone that costs $1,200. Taking a look at the details, obviously iPhone is better. I mean, considering the difference of $900 between these phones, it's not bad at all. Again, I'm just super impressed by the cameras and their performance for the price of this phone. As far as the selfies are concerned, it's doing a decent job with the sharpness and the colors thanks to the AI working actively and enhancing stuff. The images does have a bit of a soft effect to them, so it's not super detailed. You can definitely adjust the beauty level in the settings. And as for the videos, the selfie camera can shoot 1080p at 30 fps. The rear cameras can shoot 4K at 30 fps as well as 1080p 60 fps, which is pretty good. The 4K video quality is nice, but I'm not that impressed with the stabilization, so you have to be a little bit extra stable with your hands. You can definitely get a better stabilization result if you're shooting at 1080p 60 fps. Now surprisingly, Xiaomi included a 960 frames per second slow-mo video mode, which again enhances your camera experience even more. On top of that, you also have 240 fps slow-mo video recording as well as 120 frames per second slow-mo video recording. I mean, this camera is just too good for this price. Now lastly and most importantly, if we talk about the battery, well, it's rocking a 4500 mAh cell, which is bigger than 90% of the phones, including the flagships that are out there, with 18 watts of fast charging support. So for the battery result, I was able to get 2 days of battery out of this beast without breaking a sweat. I've been using the camera constantly for taking photos. I've not been playing games that much, but Xiaomi says that you can do 10 hours of consistent gaming on this beast. But my usage was free of games. Mostly been watching YouTube videos and answering emails, using social media apps and taking some photos. All of that, it was able to go beyond 1 day without any problem. Again, all of that at this price is just too good to be true. Hopefully this phone will be one of the first phones from Xiaomi to get the Android 10 update once it's out. So yeah, that's all I have to say regarding the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 Pro phone. I've been more focused towards the flagship releases for the past couple of months, but it's nice to see what's happening in the budget game. Really happy to see what Xiaomi is giving us in 2019 at this price point. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.